Hi guys, I'm John and you're watching Birds of Cebu, a channel dedicated to aviculture, avian behaviorism, and avian companionship. So, for today's episode, we are going to talk about that one time I visited Jurong Bird Park. It was my second time at the park, and for this episode, we're going to cover part 1 of going to Jurong Bird Park. Now, 2 other parts will be covered as well. Second part will be specifically about the Parrot Paradise section of Jurong Bird Park, and the third part will be their largest section of Jurong Bird Park, which is the Waterfall Aviary. Now, for this first part, I hope you guys are going to enjoy the video, but aside from the video clips, I'm going to have some audio side comments so you can learn a thing or two about certain birds that I'll be flashing in the video, because I wasn't able to make a lot of audio comments back when I was shooting the video. I hope you guys enjoy and share this video, especially those friends of yours who have never been to Jurong Bird Park, because I think you might not be able to see Jurong Bird Park the way it is anymore when they move to the new location. So finally back here at Jurong Bird Park. I was last here in 2016 and I am excited to show you guys this bird park of my dream. So I have been here back 2 years ago because I was always planning since I was in grade school that I would visit this bird park after I saw a brochure that was about 15 years ago, and I said this is my dream place to go and visit. And I did take a solo trip to Singapore just exactly for that, to visit Jurong Bird Park. And I'm excited to show you guys what's inside. I've been wanting to share this to my friends because I know a lot of guys have been wanting to see Jurong Bird Park. Now, another thing that you should know is they're actually transferring to a new location. This is my last chance to take a view of the whole thing, to share to you guys what it's like to go to Jurong Bird Park before they make the big transfer. So, let's see what's inside. So what you don't see here is that after you have your ticket scanned, you can actually keep it as a souvenir. Just said Jurong Bird Park. First thing we'll notice is the Penguin Coast. This is the first stop in Jurong Bird Park. I actually forgot to get a map. Now, this is where I get pretty lucky because the sign says that feeding is at 10:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. And just when I was entering the Penguin Coast, they were actually going to start feeding the penguins. And as you can see here, they're going to start feeding the penguins. Now, penguins mainly feed on fish, but are not limited to fish. They can eat other marine animals, but their main diet is fish. Now, some of you can guess that I was trying to shoot the penguins making a dive, and I hate to disappoint, but it proved very difficult because they mainly stayed afloat. Another fun fact about penguins is that they are actually very loyal birds, and they're what we call stick-to-one monogamous pairs. So they tend to pair for life. And this is what makes penguins not just cute, but really romantic as well. Penguins have been documented to have tight social bonds in the community and does not limit to their own species alone. And what they lack in flying, they make up for in swimming because they're the best divers in the bird world. So after the Penguin Coast, we'll pass by the Flamingo Pool, which is actually across the Hawk Arena, which has the show King of the Skies at 4 p.m. and 10 a.m. So if you don't already know, flamingos get their pink color from beta-carotene found in their diet in algae and shrimp. Beta-carotene can also be found in yellow-colored or orange-colored vegetables such as your carrot and squash. Though a flamingo as an individual bird is already beautiful in itself, I think that flamingos are very amazing when they flock together. I think that's their large numbers that really catches the attention of the people, especially when they move in unison with their head flicking left and right and all those dances that you will see when the flamingos are interacting with each other. So now here at the Heliconia Walk, we've got a white-colored kingfisher, which is quite common in the Philippines. Todirhampus chloris. I've handled this bird a couple of times whenever they get trapped inside the house, and they are a nasty biter. But they're beautiful, especially when you see them flying from one electrical post to another. Here you can see it up close. And we've got also other species of birds here in their aviary. Let's check out the sign and see what they have here. There's some kind of a dog here. Oh, we also have the blue-winged kookaburra. Kookaburra. Can't get that right. Kookaburra. Blue-winged kookaburra. So here a red and yellow barbet can be seen. This is an African barbet that is found in Eastern Africa. And let's look up a little bit up here. You will see the Java finch, which is actually one of my favorite finches. And they make great birds to mix with other species because they're not aggressive. So if you're considering setting up your own aviary, make sure that the species you're mixing together go well with each other. And these are Fischer's lovebirds, which are named after German explorer Gustav Fischer. The shoebill or whale-headed stork is a bird found in tropical East Africa, previously classified among other storks but later found to be more genetically related to pelicans. So in this collection of birds, you will be able to see these species that are commonly found in wetlands such as cranes and spoonbills. Now some of you might wonder why these birds have weird shaped beaks like spoons, shoes, or even straw-looking beaks. This is because birds have developed these beaks over time through evolution so that they can better feed on specialized diet. For example, the black-headed ibis has a long, curved beak that helps it get shellfish that are buried deep in the mud. So the next time you look at a bird, taking a good look at a beak can give you an idea what kind of diet it feeds on. Jurong Bird Park is very tropical in setting, so it was very humid, and I expect bird parks in Asia to be similar to this. So if you're visiting a bird park, expect to dress comfortably, consider the temperature so that you wouldn't overheat while trying to walk from one display to another. But because there were so many trees, I couldn't feel the direct heat of the sun because I was walking mostly under the shade of these trees. And even as I was walking along the path, I could already hear other birds that were making sounds just outside. You know, the presence of the birds in captivity actually also attracted other wild species that were going around. And one thing that really impressed me with Jurong Bird Park's facilities is that these cages are huge. These cages are really tall, and you're seeing how Jurong Bird Park really values trying to create or simulate a wild environment for these birds so that they can have a good quality of life. Now, this is another display aviary that I quite enjoy because you could walk through. It's called the Royal Ramble, and you will see the Victorian crown pigeon in here, which is the largest pigeon in the world. If you're building your own aviary, one thing that you can take from this experience is that these aviaries have a two-door system to prevent birds from escaping. And important for any walkthrough aviary is an option for the guests to clean themselves using hand sanitizers or a foot bath to prevent bringing in infection. And what it looks like here inside is that there's a section where humans can walk by without disturbing the environment of the birds. And upon entering, you can already see the Victoria Crown Pigeon, and it's huge. It's larger than your usual chicken, and what's interesting is that it's actually flighted. It can fly. It's not a flightless bird. Now, this huge pigeon here is actually quite familiar with humans. It's not scared immediately when you got cameras facing it. I think it's gotten familiarized with the presence of human beings. And in this branch here, you can see a pair of nesting crown pigeons. Now, it's not very difficult to breed these pigeons so long as you create an environment that where they feel safe, there's enough food, and when they feel like it's the best time to do it, they can breed quite easily. Taking a good look at what's inside this aviary, and you can see different level of plants, trees, and it's just really a comfortable place for the pigeon to grow. And if you look at the ceiling, it's open ceiling so the sun can come in and also rain can come through so that these birds can take a bath. And this is the greater bird of paradise, part of the 42 species of birds of paradise. Now we're very lucky because the last time I was here, I couldn't get a shot of this bird because it was hiding. Some of you might be familiar with this bird because you might have seen David Attenborough have a conversation with this bird as it was doing its mating or courting call. It's typical of birds of paradise to display their bright colors and do a dance to attract their mate. The females are not as colorful as the males. The Lory Loft is one of the larger walk-through aviaries here in Jurong Bird Park. Here you can feed and interact with the colorful and playful lories and lorikeets that fly all over the aviary. But what made this visit special for me was the rare Cornelia eclectus suddenly flying in. Wow, my friend said that it would be difficult to spot this beautiful bird, but here it is right in front of me. I was super lucky. The Cornelia eclectus subspecies are distinctly red with a red tail. The Ridelli subspecies, similar to the Cornelia, is also all red except for the yellow-tipped tail. Most eclectus hens you might see may have a violet or a purple breast. Now, if you look at the design of this walkthrough aviary, you will see elevated walkways where humans can pass through, and this is great because this allows the birds to have areas in the aviary where humans cannot get through them. It allows them to feel safer and yet still have an open interaction if they feel like they want to come near. Personally, if one day I can have an aviary just like this, I would be satisfied to spend the whole day inside it. I like how all the trees are well managed. The trees are trimmed so that it doesn't reach all the way to the top of the aviary. And another thing that I observed for this day is that I couldn't see as many birds as the last time when I visited this loft. And I think it's because of the temperature. So when doing bird watching, you might also want to consider external temperatures because birds would not like to go out on a very hot day. And I've observed this personally on my own trained birds. They prefer not to free flight when it's a hot day, but if it's a cloudy day, they enjoy the skies, they move around, and they show up more. Now take a look up there, you can see that this is really a large aviary enclosing the whole environment. It does not feel like an aviary. I love the jungle feel to it. Even the pathways are designed in a way that it's not plain and boring, You go through these zigzag pathways and some hanging bridges. It's really an aviary that you must visit if you go to Jurong Bird Park. This is a section of Jurong Bird Park called Dinosaur Descendants, where you can see large birds that are supposedly resembling our dinosaur ancestors. This is the marabou stork, which is another African bird, and if you can see, it's also known as an undertaker bird because similar to vultures, this is a scavenger. And you can see there are evolutionary developments in this bird that allows it to feed on carcass without having the mess on its head, so instead of having a feathered head, just like vultures, it has a naked head. Now, if I remember correctly, this was the Jungle Jewels Aviary. I was particularly happy to be here because the last time I was in Jurong Bird Park, this place was closed down. So now this is my first time to enter this enclosure. Greeting me upon entry is a loud flock of weaver birds. At first I was curious about this pigeon in front of me, but when I looked at the corner, I saw a small yellow bird very busy picking up some moss from the wall. And I think it's picking up some nesting material so that it can bring it back to its nest. And this is how you know if you have an active and happy bird because they're doing things what they would normally do in the wild. This is the hoopoe, which was originally classified in the same order as kingfishers and bee-eaters, but eventually this was changed and they were put in the same order of hornbills and ground hornbills. And now we are going to another section that I wasn't able to visit the last time I was here in Jurong Bird Park. This is called the Wings of Asia Aviary, where you will see species of birds that are familiar to us in the Philippines. And because this aviary is not as large as the other aviaries, I came to appreciate it as possibly a goal of what I would want to achieve in the next few years if I were to set up my own walkthrough aviary. Going inside, I noticed that the first chamber, which is acting as a double-door section of the aviary, is quite large compared to other walkthrough aviaries I've been to. But it does not feel like a jungle or a forest here. It's more like a botanical garden, so clean and everything seems well curated. The plants that you see here are most likely plants that you would also find in a plant collector's home. And another design aspect is that you will see smaller chambers or smaller cages on the side of the main aviary, and I think this is where they will try to breed some of these birds. Now on the ground you can see the Nicobar pigeon, which is another bird that you can also find in the Philippines. Wow, this tree is just filled with pigeons. How many pigeons can you identify here? You can tell that they really designed this place to look like a tropical setting. It does not feel like the plants are just randomly placed everywhere. Someone really did their landscaping right. Just when I thought I would only be seeing pigeons, I zoom in closer and I find a familiar bird, the coleto. This bird is related to the myna and can mimic sounds just like the myna. It is also endemic to the Philippines. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to walk around this aviary and let you guys appreciate the scenes and the sounds of the birds surrounding us. Look, a Nicobar pigeon. But don't worry, it's not hurt, it's just sunbathing. Here you can see its true colors really shine. Let's compare it with a Nicobar pigeon under the shade. As you can see, the colors do not pop out as much in the shade, but this can be helpful if the Nicobar pigeon needs to hide in the shade. This here is the white-rumped shama, known for its beautiful song. And when I look down, I find our very own endemic Luzon bleeding heart pigeon. This is one of the endemic species of bleeding heart pigeons found in the Philippines, and as the name suggests, they look like they have a bleeding breast. Now we've exited the Wings of Asia aviary, and we can see here a black-headed stork. Before we were going to the Pelican Cove, we chanced upon the Flamingo Lake, which is just beside, and you know, you just can't get enough of flamingos. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if you don't like walking very much, they have a tram service that you can ride on to get from one place to another. Personally, I just wanted to take in as much of the park as I could through walking. And now we've arrived at the Pelican Cove. Now take note, these birds are not clipped. They are flighted. They can fly anywhere where they want to go. However, they must have been accustomed to the feeding schedules and familiarization with the trainers that they don't feel like the need to leave the place. Just like other marine birds, they found this place to be a good source of food. Now let's see if we can get a closer look of these amazing marine birds. Been shooting around a couple of hours now, and frankly the whole day is not enough to cover the entire bird park. I'm here actually at the Pelican Cove because I'm waiting for the 2 p.m. show. We're doing another Pelican chit chat, and you guys will be able to see a little information about pelicans and see them dive into the water and feed. I'm hoping I can cover still the other areas that I really want to share, and it's really humid and it's challenging, you know, when you're doing all the shooting as a one-man show. So hopefully I'll be able to capture more of these and share with you guys.
Chit chat. So today I will be we will be feeding this beautiful bird and sharing some interesting information about them along the way.
So I've actually cut down the show because most of the audio was not really clear, but I've highlighted the portions of the show where they did the feeding so that you can see how the pelicans feed.
Oh, I'm not convinced ever. Is everyone ready?
Yeah!
That's more like it. Okay, on the count of 3, put 3. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, that's a lot of action. Thank you, Putri. Amazing. Okay, I think that was a lot. 1, 2, and 3. In the middle, right over there. Ooh.
And here's one more bird, the Sarus crane, which has a very beautiful red head, just before we end this first part of the Jurong Bird Park walkthrough adventure. And that's it for the first episode of Jurong Bird Park Adventures. And I hope that you guys will be subscribing to my channel. And if I have already uploaded the next 2 episodes, the description below will have those 2 links. See you guys again next time in the next episode of Birds of Cebu.